Hello, in this lesson we're going to take the flat social icons that we sketched out in the previous lesson and make them a reality here in Adobe Photoshop. So we're going to go ahead and go to File, New, and I'm going to use a width and height that will work well with the size of my Photoshop window. Basically I want to fill it out without creating any vertical or horizontal scroll bars, so use what works with for you best. The name, we're just going to call this Flat Social Icons, and everything else you can leave the same. We'll hit OK. I'm going to take the paint bucket, and with a white foreground I'm just going to click once to fill this background layer in with white, and go ahead and open up or download the resource file called Social Icons, and that's linked below this video. And I went ahead and created these, and these are Photoshop's shape layers so that we can scale them up without losing any type of quality. So I'm going to pull this off the screen, and I'm simply going to drag in with the move tool selected, and we're going to make sure auto select layer, and I'm going to take that first Facebook icon and just drag it over into this window. Okay. So now what I want to do is create the ellipse that we sketched out. So make sure that you have the ellipse tool selected, and I'm just going to click once, and that will bring up this dialog box. And I'm going to start out with 256 by 256. Now if you want to start out with something higher like 512 by 512, that's perfectly fine. But for my resolution currently for recording this video, 256 works well. So I'm going to hit OK. Alright, so I'm just going to drag this right here near the middle, and I'm going to position this underneath the Facebook layer, and we're going to drag this over right around there. And with this ellipse layer selected, we're going to go ahead and right click and duplicate that, and we're going to double click right here to bring up the foreground, and we're going to make this just a very light blue, and hit OK, and then hit Control T, hold Shift and the Alt key, and just drag in right around there. Just like the move tool and hit Apply. And then now we want to take our Facebook and hold Shift and Alt and just scale that up right around there, and hit Apply once again. Okay, so now what we want to do is take this bottom ellipse 1 layer. We're going to duplicate it, and I'm just going to drag it to the top. I'm going to take these 3 layers that we initially created, and I'm going to hit Control G to create a group. Now I'm going to take a right click on this top layer and specify Create Clipping Mask. Alright, so now we want to take the direct selection tool, and if it's not immediately there, just drag out here and click it, and we're going to take this right anchor and hit delete. And then what we're going to do is right click to change the foreground color of that layer to white. Now the layer blend mode is right here. We can change this to soft light, and then take the opacity down just a little bit, right to around 58%. And then finally we'll take the move tool, hit Control T, and hold Shift right till you get about at 45-degree angle, and select the move tool and hit Apply. Now you can use your arrow keys to make sure that that is lining up correctly. Alright, so that is our first icon. We want to create another group though, so we'll take the group 1 and the layer above it, right click and group layers, or hit Control G, and then we'll double click on the name and we'll call this Facebook. Alright, so that is our first icon. So now what we want to do is just replicate this process 4 more times for our other icons. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate that group. We'll call this Twitter. Let's go ahead and temporarily hide Facebook, and we'll open this up and then open up this layer in here, and One thing I do want to do, and just to backtrack real quick, is drag this Facebook layer above that shadow layer that we have here. That way the actual icon of the social network isn't getting obstructed by that shadow and it stands out better. So real quickly, I'll just delete that and duplicate that group again. We'll call this Twitter. Okay, so we'll open that back up, and right here we'll just select on this layer and we'll go to our other document off the window, and we'll just drag in the Twitter layer as seen right here to this new document. And then what we can do is delete the Facebook, and we'll scale up by holding Control T on the Twitter layer, Shift and Alt to make sure it's scales up proportionally. Select the Move tool and hit Apply. Alright, so now we just have to change the colors to match the social network's color theme. And then finally, this very faint area, what we can do is just eyedrop that and select right around there. And that is it. So now we have 2 of the 5 created. We'll just right click and duplicate this, hit OK, and we'll call this one Google, and we'll open that back up. We'll select on Twitter and then go back to our other document, drag in the Google layer. We'll delete the previous Twitter layer and hit Control T to scale this up real quick. Hit Apply. We'll move this near the center and change the colors once again of those 2 layers. Hit OK, and we will continue on. We're just about done here. LinkedIn is the next one, and we'll switch over to the other document. We'll drag that in, delete that, scale this up, and change our colors appropriately once again. And right around there. We got one more to do. Duplicate, change the name this time to Pinterest. We'll select our other document, delete the previous, scale that up. Alright, and finally we'll just change our colors here to match, and we are good to go. So that was obviously very easy, very simple, very quick. So let me just go ahead and take all of these layers and just kind of position them and show them so we can see all of the icons. So we'll make sure auto select group is selected, and so this first one we'll just move up right around here. We'll take LinkedIn, push this up right around here, Google around here, Twitter right there, and then finally Facebook right here. We could just select all of them, move them in position, and there we go. As you can see, it was very simple, and the great thing about this is we didn't use any layer effects. What we could have done actually is for this stroke right here, we could have applied that as a stroke on a layer effect. So for instance, right here, we could have very easily brought layer styles and selected stroke and did the stroke that way on a layer. But the problem with that is when you go to scale these up or down, the stroke doesn't scale with it proportionally. So the way we've done it will work perfect when it comes to scaling these and exporting them, which is what we're going to tackle in the next lesson. All right, so I will see you then.